Gregory's music for myself personally takes me on a journey. He is no stranger to this channel, having been requested and connected through our shared love for his music. GAI, as I like to shorten his full name to, has only increased in popularity. Peaking for his release of the 2018 album Evening Machines, then again 5 years later with the release of Appaloosa Bones. For the former, his sound is alternative, with more sounds and instruments than you would typically hear from a folk musician. Caves brings in drums at a high level, yet at the very beginning of that song features what I can only describe as a radio tuning, which certainly brings up imagery of his 2009 release, This Empty Northern Hemisphere. Gregory is growing, expanding, yet always coming back to the sounds and lyrics he knows and loves. That's no different than Appaloosa Bones. Although he wanted to achieve something different at first, saying, I thought I was going to make something very lo-fi, very simple, almost like a lo-fi rock and roll record. I wanted old silver tones that are double amped and kind of dirty. Then, the songs sort of presented themselves to me. It's sort of a co-creative process for me. I just follow along. What came out of the album is certainly the opposite of dirty. Recorded inside his barn, we feel the space in between each note. And you can literally see this open space with the official lyric video for Before the Sun. Another example is the beginning of Terlingua, as we hear him walk to the piano, shades of the ending to Fire Escape. He backs all this up with another quote saying he wanted to make it less cinematic, more like the bones of a song. This deep dive will certainly discuss how simple the songs are, but I think of this record as motivational. For me, The Fall will always be a song that can get me going again. The bridge can make me cry. His tender voice of We All Break a Little hits me so hard. It's a natural thing to break, but to bring it up right in your face is something you can't run away from, like how we usually treat our problems. The music goes soft in that moment, and the echoes of Go On, Get Up reinforce the fact that the feeling you might need in that moment is very simple. The human mind has a strange blockage sometimes when we need and want things. It fights itself, bringing up harsh memories all the time. But GAI says it's okay, we all break a little. A simple line we all know is true, yet can't seem to program our brain to solidify it. Gregory lays out this record in perfect form, covering the themes he knows so well: longing and belonging, love and care, and my favorite I connect with, endurance. It's a record you can put on in the early morning, when you're sick, or after a long day. It clocks in at 37 minutes and 29 seconds, just about average, never forcing its stay, as only one song is over 4 minutes. The album did well with ratings, and I think it's also loved by the fan base. It reached the US Billboard 200, the first for his career. I would have to put this very high for his released works. I want to keep the video going, so please stick around as I talk through each individual song. I'll skip The Fall since we basically already went over that. Before the Sun. The banjo intro is so smooth and sounds insanely spot on for his style. It was nearly the opener for the album, with Gregory saying, Before the Sun was originally going to be the first track forever. I mean, that was decided early on, that banjo tune. He's been holding on to this song for a while, writing parts of it when he was only 22, but he needed to get better at the banjo before completing it, saying, I'm not a trained banjo player or anything, and it's something I felt a little bit shy about for a long time. He goes on to tell us what we already covered about the song and album being about the wide open space. The song reminds me of working outside and being outside. Obviously, this is quickly introduced in the song with 55-mile signs found on highways, thunder, crack, and lightning, something we'll hear more about on the record, and references to 4th of July, fireworks. Kicking Up Dust, a reused lyric from Time Will Tell, yet another example of Gregory going back to his roots. Well, I guess maybe Time Will Tell is reusing this lyric from this song because I assume he technically wrote Before the Sun first. In any event, he talks about revisiting old songs, saying, a lot of the songs on this record were kind of old songs, or at least the seeds of them were old. I changed the oil on them and took out the high school journal vibes, but I really wanted to honor some of the songs I just play all the time for myself. I didn't know if anyone is going to like this, but I wanted to just really take a look at all those. Appaloosa Bones. Now we move on to the title track, which I didn't mention in my intro, but the title nearly matches a bar he used to play at called Appaloosa Grill, which is in Denver. Appaloosa is a horse breed, something Gregory is well versed in being a farmer, saying, "There are all these tools made out of the bones from that horse because they have really strong bones." Verse 1 again immediately states his intentions, saying, "I was picturing just being completely at the end of yourself, like you have nothing left, and something kind of carries you through it." The chorus brings us the peak of everything we went over. Hearing the individual notes and leaving so much space after the third line is truly remarkable and makes the whole thing so much more intimate. He again reuses similar elements of the environment, now using winter and back-to-back songs. This repetitive nature is something noticeable, but not annoying in my opinion. Silver Bell. Lyrically, it's about being saved by someone. Annabelle could be a real person, or just a lovely name like Maria he has used previously. This is a short song word-wise, but uses 2 lines that directly connect to my motivational theme. Couldn't tell you how many times I was ready to fold, and just a kiss from your lips, and I'm ready to go. It's yet another beautiful song that was being played live as an encore with the band close together sharing one microphone, deepening the intimate feeling. Watchman. This one is one of my favorites on the record and an underrated gem from him overall. The "oh" in the song make it fun to sing along with. The piano intro blending with the guitar is a wonderful sound that eventually builds up to one of my favorite parts musically. That happens right after the line, "They're just flashes." The sound comes down so hard and sudden, like a thunderstorm. At first glance, it's a love story. However, the real inspiration comes from something Gregory lived through about legitimately being a watchman over his farm, saying, "I run this farm full-time with 2 other people, and we have sheep. In the wintertime, when I'm home from tour, we have a major coyote problem. I hadn't had fencing and stuff figured out for them yet, so I would just sit up all night with a flashlight." A lot of that made it into the song. Miles to Go. Another soft opener and one that gives me solace for when I'm impatient to go home. It truly describes loneliness, and the last verse is pure GAI. He goes on a roll with lyrics we've been expected to hear from him, using universe as describing someone's life around them, a word he's used before, writing a whole song about it. He talks about the song saying, "I see music as very visual. If there's a line that happens and then another killer line after that, I'm sort of like, it's not good because I don't have time to live in that first line." The first lines, hotel bar, sinking in, broken hearts, busted strings, I was a little bit shy, to be honest. I was like, can I say this? It was almost too sober and direct that it made me uncomfortable, and I liked it. It's true, he is a shy person, but being so direct and simple is really the key to this whole album. The last part could be a reference to a Robert Frost poem, as noted by Genius.com user Corey Parks. The poem ends with the repeating line of, "and miles to go before I sleep." A definite connection to Gregory's song. Whether or not he truly took inspiration from the poem is a mystery, but a fantastic connection observed nonetheless. Terlingua. As stated before, it starts off with him walking and getting ready to play the piano. That openness really allowed him to make the simple record he wanted to make, with him saying, "I set out to make a super simple bedroom record." The song now talks about different animals than the previous song, a fox and how the owl owns the evening. I'm sure he saw them while writing this song, saying, "There's a town called Terlingua near Big Bend National Park, and I just worked on a song down there." He also touches on the softness of the record. They were like these no hooks, super slow, B-side songs. His longing is evident. Remember when the engine quit? A moment in time he can connect to his interest's grin. I'll love you like the passing time. A promise tied to time, fully eternal. Yet again, bridging the piano and guitar together. I believe he plays this with capo on the 2nd fret, so he can achieve the very folky chording structures with the C and the G, which is really a D and A, respectively, that you hear. Mistakes. I feel like a broken record, so I'll try to keep this one brief. It's a song where you hear Gregory climb up high in his voice registry on the lyric "mistakes." It's bare, it's raw, and it matches exactly what we've been talking about. At this point in the album, it seems a bit repetitive, but with the next song, it throws a little bit of a curveball and something new. One Day. This has become such a favorite of mine. A waltz as described by co-writer Jay Wagner, who correctly shows us how to play the song, which was awesome to see. I tried before him and it's honestly super cool that I got to interact with him just a little bit. It starts differently than the others and is a good change in pace. Although on the surface the lyrics seem morbid, one day the rain will cover us up, darling, certain lines give good promise. One day, as a phrase, is a common one for motivation, like, you'll get there one day, or one day, I'll be able to have this. More connections as he references Watchman and Bones carrying him home. Sweet Heat Lightning. Undoubtedly the most played song on the record for me, and as the stats prove it, for others as well. It's one I played right before falling asleep so many nights. Gregory's love for the moon finally makes its way back by singing Moon's Out. And it seems, at least for the first part, singing about monsters under the bed and a nod to hide and seek, he goes back to childhood. He says, that happened to me. He sticks with the childhood theme by repeating, calling you to sing, as if he needs that lullaby to feel safe or to sleep, like in my case. The song absolutely crushes anything else I've ever covered by him, with over 9,000 views. A cover by YouTube user Devin has amassed even more views, and so many people requesting how they pulled it off. I'm glad they made a tutorial on how they played it. This is the one song I mentioned that was over 4 minutes. Feed Your Horses. Alas, we hit the end of the album. I'll be honest, at first it seemed like this was kind of a throwaway song, or at least one I didn't really pay much attention to. I'm not saying it's bad in any way, I just think it goes over the limit of the style we've heard so many times already. But to Gregory, it's different in a way, saying, that's such a country song. Stemming from a favor from a friend as she asked him if he would feed her animals while she's gone. I was in her barn with a bunch of old guitars, and I was like, okay, yeah, that's what I'm doing today. He played this song back in 2019 while on tour, once again taking in a bunch of old songs and adding them to this record. The song feels like a farewell, or at least a see you later, singing, looking for love, you forget to come home. I'll wait for you, darling, like grain in the ground. Forever tying in his farmer lifestyle into his words, but he's no different than us. Faithful and patient, he's grounded, and in the end, it totally resolves musically. To wrap up this album, it's probably nothing new than what I've already said, but I will say, it's a really good soft-going album to show someone if you're trying to get them into his music. It goes back to his folk roots from this empty northern hemisphere, with parallels to it as well. It's an album I can go to whenever, if I want to be picked up, if I want to reminisce, if I just want to have it on in the background. It's magical that way. It really brings a lot of small moments into one big musical journey that I'm so glad to be a part of. It's slow, but steady, it stays within his own lines, and never does anything crazy. I wouldn't put it past him if he can create more songs like this. However, I would love to see something different from him, something that he originally set out to do, but just couldn't as the songs came back to him, almost supernaturally. So I wouldn't want to fight forces that I cannot see, so just keep doing your thing. We'll be here to listen. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment on your thoughts about the album, and let me know if you want me to do a different video of another song or an album. Just let me know, or any artist for that matter. Thank you.